Wake up in the morning.
Wake up, Atlanta. It's time for coffee. Talk presented by Spotify. Fresh vibes, real talk.
Let's get started, shall we?
Yeah.
Good morning, Atlanta. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, boy howdy, welcome. And I do mean this, guys. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Coffee Talk presented by and powered by Spotify. So let me tell you guys something. First and foremost, a grand morning to everybody out there. We hope that everyone is ready for another exciting day. You probably got your coffee set up and coffee is ready, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you're sipping lattes or you're having a great time with your cappuccinos, or maybe if you like it, just straight black coffee. We hope that you guys are ready for another exciting morning. Good morning, Atlanta. So I am very, very excited to kick off the show as usual. If you guys know, we didn't tweet or Instagram anything about it, but I'm really, really excited to announce this new thing within Coffee Talk. Now, if you guys know, we're back with another episode of Coffee Talk, and I'm very, very excited for this one simply because this is an announcement from K.L.P Entertainment, Filmworks, and Spotify. Let's just say that Spotify have been enjoying Coffee Talk. I got to give a shout out to everybody that tuned in. I've got to give a shout out to everyone like Rachel and Simone and Marcus and Emily and Hope. You guys gave this show life. I'm very, very happy about it. But just kind of going back to our roots a little bit when it comes down to doing an actual radio show. And Spotify has been loving it, and we're going to be able to do more episodes of Coffee Talk. Let me tell y'all something, because Spotify wants us to do an episode every day. So that is our new mission, trying to get Coffee Talk produced and made for you guys every morning, Monday through Friday. Wish us luck. I am very, very excited about that because that is just opportunity of growth. That is something that I'm very, very passionate about, this podcasting thing. And this has set a precedent to what's going to happen to K.L.P Aftermath. And I'm here to tell you guys, everybody on the cameras here on the radio station, that show is not going anywhere. That show will be pivoted to a weekend Friday night or Saturday night type show because we have to dedicate all of our resources into this show. It is a business move for us. If you guys know, you know, I'm not just a podcaster. I'm not just a radio show host. I'm also the CEO of K.L.P Entertainment Filmworks as a businessman. So I have to look at the business aspect of our shows. And this show got picked up really, really well with all of our sponsorships from Spotify, our equipment help from Rode. This has been a show in the making. And if you guys remember, this show was supposed to be the show we did. And I'm left because my producers are in my ear. My producers are over there here in the station. That this show was supposed to be Wake Up ATL, but we just didn't know how to formulate that show. Like, this is essentially this is what this show is. But we changed the name, changed the title, added some people onto the show. And this show, the name just works. The profile just works. The MCs, the radio personalities here on our show, it just works. And Spotify love it. And like I say, if you guys know, you know, as a CEO, I've got to look at the business aspect of the show as well. And honestly, I will say this: Coffee Talk, along with the Lucas Tribune. And one big question too, these shows are very easy to produce. Not to say that, you know, this show is just, we're just slapping some stuff together and calling it a show. No, there's a lot of elements that go into this show, but this show is easier for us to produce, right? Here in the station, we don't have as much lighting that we have to set up. We don't have as much cameras here to set up for this setup. So I do say K.L.P Aftermath is not going anywhere, but this show is just easier for me to produce. As you guys know, I also do the day-to-day operations with K.L.P Entertainment Filmworks and the Lucas Tech Group and Lucas Tribune and What Happened Was Radio. You know, there's a lot that I have to do. So I'm very happy about it. I'm very happy about this change. I'm very happy that Spotify love us. Shout out to Spotify. And it, just trying to do a morning show each and every day. That is our mission. And I will say to a lot of people, before we get to the topics of conversation here this morning, there's going to be some days where we're not doing coffee talk every single day, right? It's not going to happen. But our mission is to try to produce a coffee talk episode each and every day, whether or not if I'm on camera or not. That is our mission. So I'm very, very happy about it. Thank you so much, Spotify, for believing in our project, believing in our radio show. And this radio thing ain't going nowhere. Where we still podcasting, because even though we're in the radio station and we're formulating back into radio, we're still a podcast. If you think about it, if you think about the Breakfast Club, they're in the radio station of theirs at Power 105, but they turned it into a podcast. So very, very happy about that. I do want to say real quick, to get us started for Coffee Talk presented by Spotify, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that everyone is having their coffee this morning on their way to work. Happy Tuesday. It is February 10th. I said it in yesterday's episode. Love is in the air, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to be talking about it every day on Coffee Talk, every day until Saturday. Valentine's Day is coming up. We hope that everyone is getting ready to celebrate with their loved ones. If you celebrate Valentine's Day, it is on a Saturday, so it's very, very unique that it's on a Saturday. Usually, each year that I know of Valentine's Day, it either falls on a Wednesday or a Thursday. Most likely, more of a Thursday from the past years that I've celebrated Valentine's Day, but it falls on a Saturday this time around. Very, very exciting because everybody's probably going to be off work. Probably, I know a lot of people do work the weekends, but some people are going to be off work. People are going to be taking their loved ones out to eat. I know traffic is going to be hell on Saturday, so I don't really anticipate driving Saturday evening. You guys know how I do. I'm gonna get up early, right? Yeah, I see you smile over there, T. Tyra's in the building. It's going to be where I get up early to go to the gym, and I'm probably just gonna DoorDash some food to my house because I just don't want to I don't feel like driving. If you guys must know, I don't have a Valentine's Day this year, which is okay. It's one of those things that happens. It's going to be okay. If I don't have a Valentine's this time around, it's perfectly fine. I'm going to be DoorDashing some food. It's gonna be quite amazing, and I'm going to be watching some movies. But Valentine's Day, love season is in the air. Very excited. I was feeling very chipper. I went to the gym yesterday, and I got another gym session later today after we're done with the show. But I just got that urge yesterday where I was just listening to a whole bunch of R&B music. I was feeling Eric Bellinger. I was feeling Tank, down to Charlie Wilson, to Michael Jackson. I was getting it in yesterday. It was a very, very good workout session. But I want to talk about something. And typically on our shows, whether it's K.L.P. Aftermath or Coffee Talk, I like to talk about things that I want to talk about newsworthy wise, but I also like to talk about my experiences. I also like to talk about what I've been going through, what I've peeped, what I noticed. And lately, the ladies, again, ladies, I'm going to pick on y'all just a little bit. The ladies have been expressing themselves on social media about their icks. And I think it's time that I give you guys one of my icks that I've got going on. And here is the ick that I have. And I'll say this, it's kind of a minor ick, really. It's not really a huge ick, but this is something that I've noticed. This is something that I peeped yesterday, and it just drives me bonkers. Now, if you guys know, you know, I go to the gym Monday through Friday. Well, not every day I go to the gym. Obviously, I say to a lot of people, don't go to the gym every day. Please get the relaxation that you need. Take time off from the gym so your muscles can really relax. You guys, I promise you guys, I'm not wearing muscle shirts in every talk show, every radio show we do. But this is just something that I saw that was clean. I popped it on, had to jet here to Atlanta, down to Atlanta for the studio for the show. But and shout out to Crunch Gym, repping their shirt here. So yesterday I'm in the gym, you know, clanging and banging. I'm feeling it. I'm really feeling it. I got done with my workout session, and I've noticed that a lot of ladies, they feel themselves. They feel the confidence. And I'm picking on the ladies a little bit because I be doing it too. I understand the confidence. But there is such a thing of being too confident, right? A lot of pretty ladies up in there. And then, ladies, I'm picking on y'all just a little bit because men, we do it too. Men, when we strutting, we strut. We walk, we do that pimp walk. And I got kind of annoyed because, like, there was this big buff dude yesterday. This was last night. Big buff dude. I'm getting the weights, getting back to my corner, and he's strutting, walking slow, trying to sway his hips a little bit, sway his shoulders a little bit. I'm like, man, if you don't get out the way with your strutting having ass. And he was, he was a huge dude. I give him credit. He was a big dude, but like, you over here strutting, I need you to move out the way because you walking real slow. And a lot of people should know about me. And I'm learning to kind of check myself on that. I don't run, but I do walk kind of fast. If you guys know, I am a technician. I'm an IT, I'm a technician, and along with that job, I'm also newly named audio engineer. So 9 times out of 10 in the offices, I'm on my feet, right? I'm jetting to a next appointment. I'm jetting to a next meeting. I'm walking to the next venue that I've got to set up. I'm walking to the next task that I got to do. I even parked the car and I ran, not run, but I ran in here to get the show started, right? So I walk pretty fast. And that's something that I'm working on. I get it. I walk pretty fast in the gym to get to where I need to get to. But ladies, they do the strut too, chest out, butt in the air, they doing the little I'm cute, And I'm walking and this real cute girl, she was very cute. I think she had a blonde hair and she had a white shirt and some pink leggings or pink uh they're like leggings but they're short. So it's like compression shorts, I guess. I don't know what you call them. And she just blasts for me right in front of me, up close and personal, right? Just cut me off, right? Cut me off right in front of my face. And I'm like, lady, do you not see me walking here? And she had her earbuds in and everybody noticed it. I'm like, but then they looked at me. And then, I think a lot of the people know, a lot of trainers, when they look at me, because the old Kennedy would have snapped, right? I would have said, hey, you cut me off, and I would have had an argument with her. The old Kennedy would have. But now, with my renewed faith with God and, me being more of a gentleman, I now know to not snap so easily. I smiled. I thought it was funny because you doing that thing. You strutting real hard, and you feeling it, and you look good. When you look good, you gonna cut dudes off. You gonna cut in front of dudes, and you're gonna walk in front of them, and you gonna do your little tootsie walk, and you gonna do your thing. So I get it. I completely understand it. I do say to a lot of people, don't get upset when ladies do that. I think ladies, you shouldn't do that. Ladies, I think if you are walking, be mindful, and gentlemen too, but be mindful of where you're walking, because if you're not able to be aware of where you're walking, then you cut people off. You get in front of people. You kind of almost, because I almost bumped into her, like my hands, and I when my hands move, T in audience, I move my arms when I walk sometimes. So if she was really super close, I would have smacked her ass, right? Inadvertently, not in a perverted way, but I would have, because my arm swinging my arms, you cut in front of me, I would have been like, psh, right there. And then that would have been where I would have been called a creep. I would have been charged with sexual harassment because you cut me off. So I say to a lot of people, don't do that. Please be aware of your surroundings. So one thing that I've learned to do too is to share. I do say to a lot of people, please share in the gym. I'm learning to not be an asshole when it comes down to getting a lot of weights. Sometimes you kind of have to do that, because what I do in the gym, and I do this often, I need to stop doing this because it's not fair, but I do get a few weights at a time simply because it's a whole set that I'm working on. And one thing that I'm getting used to now, Monday through Fridays after hours, I do go to the gym, right? And the gym is packed. But Monday, which was yesterday, was very, very packed, right? People are getting in that Monday session. Luckily, I found parking right up in front of the building by the grace of God. But the gym was really really packed yesterday. So I do say to a lot of people, just be mindful of other people. Ladies, be mindful where you're walking. Fellas, be mindful of where you're walking, because it's a tight squeeze, right? And it gets annoying when it's already packed in there, everybody's on top of each other. It takes a lot. But I'm learning to not do that. And I say that to say, I do think that's kind of a ick, because I've ran into a lot of women who, and again, ladies, I'm not picking on you. This is from a man's point of view. I see a lot of women who think they hot shit in the gym. And this is the same thing with my old gym crush. A lot of people think that they're hot shit in the gym, but to me, it's like, you're kind of average, right? What makes you unique from Carly over there that's prettier, right? Or Tiffany over there that's prettier than you, right? So I do say that. And I just want to thank, again, ladies, I'm not hating on y'all, because I'm about to talk about our men too. Men do that too, that we think that we're hot shit. And I know that I'm not hot shit in the gym. I'm nothing but a bag of chips in the gym, right? A lot of trainers come up, they say, hey, I love what you're doing. Kennedy, you're doing your thing. I say, yeah, thank you. But trust me, I am not much better than you. Right? We are all equal in this thing. One of the gym trainers, shout out to that man, he always hyping me up, and it's awesome. I want him to continue to do that, but I want him to also know that I am no better than you, because he's swoller than me, right? A lot of people ask me, dang, Kennedy, I saw your car. What you do for a living? Hey, I'm just regular Joe, right? I'm average. I'm 6'7". I'm an average male. And I think a lot of ladies, that's one of the icks that I have, that a lot of ladies think that they're a perfect 12 and perfect 13, but in my eyes, no, baby girl, you are a 6'7", right? And I've seen some pretty women in the gym, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of girls, especially, again, my old gym crush, shout out to her, but she was a 6'7" to me. Not in a bad way, but it's like, you're pretty. You're pretty, but you're not a perfect 13, right? And she's short too. She's really short. She's shorter than me. She's short. I think she's about 4 foot. But besides the point, ladies, don't act like you're hot shit sometimes when you're a perfect 13, when you trying to compare yourself to the super models in the gym. And let me tell you something, ladies. If you are an average lady, because I'm not picking on y'all, real men like, and I think I might have pod about this too. Real men like women who are average. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I like women who are on the average side. I don't want to date a supermodel. I don't. Back in high school, I used to go for the super hot girl, like just hot, where she's peaking. Her peak was high school. Supermodel hot girls. Back in high school is what I used to like. But now I'm starting to attract girls who are on the average side that might be a perfect 13 in my eyes and in my mind, but in reality, you're 6'7". Right? There's a lot of ladies, and especially a lot of ladies now in the gym. Again, down to my ex gym crush, little shorty that's 4 foot, blonde hair, blue eyes, down to some girls that I won't name their names in description because they're probably watching the show. But those girls that they know who they are, that is cocoa brown, cocoa butter, lotion, smell good, kinky hair, brown skin, brown eyes, that are also on maybe a higher average size, but I'm on in my mind, you're a perfect 13, but I'm talking to those ladies. Now, those ladies have significant others, right? So, hey, you charge it to the game, ladies and gentlemen. But that is just an ick of mine that I have, that I just don't attract, the supermodels anymore in the gym. And ladies, like I say, that's an ick for me when I'm walking and you cut right in front of me, not just in front of me where you're about a couple of feet ahead, like right up on my chest, where I can hear you breathing. And I'm not in a creepy way, guys, but I can hear you breathing. That means you are way too close to me. Give me some room. Give me some space, please. Right? Men in the gym, we love you. We love the ladies, but we need space when we're working out, because we're clanging, we're banking, we're huffing, we're puffing, we're pumping up. Give us some space, ladies. And if you want to work out with us, by all means, but you gotta give us just a feet. Give me a feet. Give me some room. Let me stretch. Let my balls breathe for a minute. Right? That's just how we have. And shout out to speaking of giving space and spaces. I did say that I kind of misspoke here because a lot of people thought we were doing K.L.P aftermath. We're doing coffee talk. Shout out to Bad Bunny. I know I might be a little day late to the game. Everybody's talked about it yesterday, Monday. Today's Tuesday. This is the time where I wanted to get into it because we had to watch the halftime performance before we could review the halftime performance. Let me just say up the bat. Ricky Martin made his appearance as a guest on the halftime show. Lady Gaga made her appearance as well. I am very, very happy for Bad Bunny because he made a statement piece. I really love the production side of it. The grass, the bushes, they were real people walking, which makes sense. Right? Some people made some slick comments like, oh, no, they were hiding from ICE. No, they had the bushes as real people because it's easier to move that off the field to the remaining of the game. First and foremost, shout out to the Seahawks. I knew they were going to get it. I won some money on it because me and Tyrus and Jonathan and Wyatt, we made a bet. I won that bet that the Seahawks was going to take it. Tyrus over there, he's smirking because he voted for he put his money on the Patriots. Never put your money on the Patriots, T. But Seahawks won, very fantastic. But that halftime performance was really, really good. I enjoyed the halftime performance. Again, excuse me. People when they were in the grass, they were dressed up. The people in the bushes, it just makes sense because it's faster for them to move off the field. Very clever. Very clever from Rock Nation. Bad Bunny. It doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen, that you didn't understand what Bad Bunny was saying. Doesn't matter. The vibe was there. And he played body, 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 body. That's one of my favorites. It doesn't matter. Right? What matters was Bad Bunny being his most authentic self representing Puerto Rico. That's what mattered. Right? And he was everywhere on stage. He had a lot of pieces, a lot of moving pieces, of course. So I'm happy about Bad Bunny. Excuse me. I am happy about Bad Bunny. I'm happy about the performance. I think this solidifies him as an artist. Not a recent Grammy winner, and now doing it big on the Super Bowl, and that's a hard feat to come by. I can't wait to see what Super Bowl performance will be next year. Excuse me, guys. I can't wait to see what Super Bowl is like next year, who's going to be performing. And to all of people if you're from Puerto Rico and from the Spanish countries, this was a win for you guys. I know there's a lot of tough things we're going through right now with politics, but I'm very, very happy about the Puerto Rican culture. I love Puerto Rico too. Fantastic spot to vacate. And Mexico in general. I know those two different countries, but I just, I got to give my shout outs to them as well. All right. So I'm going to turn over the show here, ladies and gentlemen, to Simone and Rachel and Sarah and everybody here on Coffee Talk presented by Spotify. And I'll be back to close the show out this morning. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, Kennedy. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Here's your front page news. Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda spoke about Dave Blunt's song, First Day at the Hospital, on their new podcast, The Real Report. Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda went off on Dave Blunt's during a recent podcast. They responded to his song, First Day at the Hospital, landing on Complex's list of the 20 best First Day Out songs. A clip of the rant has been going viral on social media. Yayo and Murda then argue that Dave Blunt's song shouldn't even qualify for the list, seeing as it was a reference to the hospital, not prison. He first day out the hospital for eating too much, Murda jokes. Yayo replies, "That's wild. You're wilding right now." On X, formerly Twitter, fans have been sharing plenty of laughs in response to the video. "They've got to learn to stop talking over each other and stop drinking. LOL," one user wrote. Another added, This the hysterical podcast my New Yorker brain needed. The rant about Dave Blunts was part of Yayo and Murda's new podcast series, The Real Report. The first episode premiered on Monday, featuring other conversations about Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, 50 Cent, G-Unit, and more. The duo originally announced the podcast last December. "I ain't realize all of this was going to happen," Yayo told XXL at the time. "God will bless you in different ways. We signed with The Volume. They got great production. Shout to Shannon Sharp. Shout to Joe and Jada. Jada Kiss. Where was we at? Germany or was it Turkey? I'll let Murda tell the story of what happened at breakfast." Next, Cardi B and Stefon Diggs unfollowed each other on Instagram moments after the Super Bowl, which is a sign of breakups these days. Cardi B and Stefon Diggs have apparently been done with each other, and fans are pointing to a past post from the FemC as evidence. Right now, folks are fixating on a simple message that she posted to her Instagram story that Live Bites reports is a couple of weeks old. "Done," it read with nothing else but a black screen. Additionally, a fan of the rappers, who goes by Not For The Dumb Shade 3 on social media, seemingly confirms this was the actual end of her relationship with the NFL wide receiver. The person claims, "Cardi was already going to be a part of this Super Bowl without Stefon Diggs. Cardi broke up with him the day after the AFC Championship. If you paid attention to his stories, she put, 'Done,' in the biggest fight I had ever seen, and you never seen that man again." They continue, "He just tried to pretend like he was still with her in his press conferences, but like every time she break up with him and he's hurt, he brings Pri around, and this time it cost him the Super Bowl." The user concludes, "And Cardi doesn't care, and she's done with him for good because she took the breakup public. She's officially done, and I'm so happy." If this is all true, then Stefon Diggs had no chance to propose to Cardi B. If you remember, the New England Patriot hinted that he had to get his ring first before making that move. But it seems like that won't be happening at all if this claim holds up. Rumors of their breakup started after the Super Bowl conclude, with fans noticing they weren't following one another on Instagram. Additionally, Cardi reportedly left Levi's Stadium early after making her cameo during Bad Bunny's halftime show. Over the last few hours, there's been a stark difference in the reporting about them, as the mother of four, one with Diggs, was very positive. The Am I the Drama? Talent was supporting the veteran pass catcher all throughout the Patriots' playoff run. Making matters worse, though, for Diggs, is that his squad was no match for the Seattle Seahawks. The representatives of the NFC were stout defensively all game. Their performance on that side of the ball resulted in a second Lombardi trophy for the franchise. They went on to win 29-13.
Good morning, everyone. Next on Coffee Talk, presented by Spotify. 3 numbers in a lottery machine, 3, 5 and 2. Might not sound like much, but in the NBA, those digits can literally determine whether a franchise stays in the basement or vaults into contention. Today, we're exploring how teams are revolutionising the art of strategic losing.
You know what's fascinating about this whole situation? The Charlotte Hornets got that lucky 4th number, 11, and ended up with Con Gnupel, who's now shooting better than Steph Curry did as a rookie.
Let's break down these numbers because they're incredible. Gnupel is hitting 42% of his threes while taking 8 attempts per game. For context, Curry only attempted 5 per game as a rookie, though he did shoot 43%.
And that single draft pick has completely transformed the Hornets. They're on their longest winning streak in over 20 years. 9 straight wins. That's what makes this new NBA trend of the flip so interesting.
The flip is really changing how teams approach rebuilding. Instead of just bottoming out completely, teams are trying this hybrid approach. Tank now, but collect assets to flip the switch immediately next season.
Speaking of which, let's look at how the Washington Wizards are executing this strategy. They've somehow managed to acquire both Trae Young and Anthony Davis, yet neither one seems able to get on the court right now.
That's where this gets really interesting and honestly a bit suspicious. Young was playing regularly for Atlanta in December, gets traded to Washington, and suddenly there's no timeline for his return. Then Davis had a 6-week injury timeline with Dallas that mysteriously stretched to 10 weeks after the trade.
Well, that's quite the convenient development for a team hoping to secure a high draft pick. Though I suppose they could argue they're just being cautious with their new stars.
The Utah Jazz are running a similar playbook. They made this shocking trade for Jaren Jackson Jr. and in his very first game with the team, he drops 22 points in just 25 minutes. Impressive, right? Well, then they benched him for the fourth quarter of a close game.
And don't forget about their treatment of Lauri Markkanen, missing 7 straight games with an illness and getting pulled from close games. It's like they're not even trying to hide what they're doing.
You know what makes this whole situation even more complex? These teams aren't just thinking about this season. They're playing 3-dimensional chess, trying to position themselves for both the draft and free agency.
The Brooklyn Nets are taking this to another level entirely. They've acquired 5 first-round picks in a single season. That's never been done before. And they're fielding some of the youngest lineups in NBA history.
And here's where it gets really strategic. The Nets kept Michael Porter Jr. at the trade deadline, even though teams were interested in him. Why? Because they need him for next year's flip. They've got almost $50 million in cap space coming up this summer.
That's quite the war chest they're building. Though I have to wonder, what happens if these plans don't work out exactly as intended?
That's exactly what makes this so fascinating. These teams are making huge bets on their ability to perfectly time this transition. The Pacers, for instance, just traded for Ivica Zubac and suddenly he needs to rest his ankle. An injury that wasn't on any previous report.
Though, in a twist of irony, the one team actually trying to win right now, the Hornets, they trade for Kobe White and discover he has a legitimate injury they didn't know about during the physical.
The league is definitely taking notice of all this. Sources say it came up in a recent competition committee meeting, but how do you actually prove a team is intentionally losing, especially when they can point to legitimate sounding medical reasons?
That's the real challenge here. These teams have gotten sophisticated about how they approach this. It's not just obvious tanking anymore, it's strategic positioning for the future.
One team president summed it up perfectly with this Icarus metaphor. You've heard of Icarus and what happens when you fly too close to the sun. I think some teams are in danger of flying too close to the ground.
That's such a brilliant way to put it. These teams are walking a very fine line between strategic rebuilding and potentially alienating their fan bases.
Though interestingly, the article mentions that it's not actually the fans these teams are most worried about, it's their owners. They want specific timelines for when these rebuilds will end.
Looking ahead, what do you think this means for the future of the NBA? Are we going to see more teams trying this flip strategy?
I think we're watching the evolution of team building in real time. It's not enough anymore to just be bad and hope for the best. Teams are trying to engineer these precise windows where they can go from the bottom to the top in the span of one off-season.
Though you have to wonder if this is sustainable for the league as a whole. What happens when half the teams are trying to lose at the same time?
That's the million-dollar question. And speaking of millions, let's remember how this all started. With those 4 numbers in a lottery machine that determined where hundreds of millions of dollars in talent would end up.
Well, one thing's for certain. The NBA never fails to entertain, even when teams are trying their hardest not to be entertaining.
And that might be the most fascinating part of all. We're watching teams try to lose games while simultaneously trying to convince their fans and owners that they're actually winning at losing. It's like performance art meets professional sports.
Coming up next on Coffee Talk presented by Spotify, Catherine O'Hara died from a pulmonary embolism. Cancer was the underlying cause. Catherine O'Hara died from a pulmonary embolism with cancer as the underlying cause. A Los Angeles County death certificate issued Monday lists the pulmonary embolism, which occurs when a blood clot blocks an artery in the lungs, as the immediate cause of the actor's Jan 30 death at age 71. Rectal cancer was the long-term cause. The oncologist who signed off on the certificate indicated that he had been treating O'Hara since March of last year and last saw her on Jan 27. She died at a hospital in Santa Monica, California. The beloved Canadian-born comic actor and SCTV alum starred as Macaulay Culkin's mother in 2 Home Alone movies and won an Emmy as the dramatically oblivious wealthy matriarch Moira Rose in Schitt's Creek. Her death was a surprise to most, and an initial statement from her representatives said only that she died following a brief illness. Collaborators including Culkin, Christopher Guest, Eugene Levy, and Pedro Pascal paid her loving tribute after her death. The document said she was cremated. It lists her profession as actress and her business as movies. It said she practiced her trade for 50 years. Next up, Cuban aviation officials have warned airlines that there isn't enough fuel for airplanes to refuel on the island, the latest step in its moves to ration energy as the Trump administration cuts the Caribbean nation off from its fuel resources. The government of Cuba published the notices to airlines and pilots on Sunday night, warning that jet fuel won't be available at 9 airports across the island, including Jose Marti International Airport in Havana, starting Tuesday and continuing until March 11th. Political pressure from US President Donald Trump on Latin America has effectively severed Cuba's access to its primary petroleum sources in Venezuela and Mexico. In late January, Trump signed an executive order that would impose a tariff on any goods from countries that sell or provide oil to Cuba, a move that could further cripple an island plagued by a deepening energy crisis. While the rationing may not disrupt shorter regional flights, it presents a significant challenge for long-haul routes from countries like Russia and Canada, a critical pillar of Cuba's tourism economy.
That's going to wrap it up on Coffee Talk presented by Spotify. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you guys enjoy this episode. Make sure that you have a fantastic rest of your day, T. You know, it's feeling a little bit warm out there. It was like 60 degrees. I almost wanted to let my top down from my car, right? It felt a little bit warm today. I brought my trench coat in the offices yesterday and I was hot. But shout out to the sweet sunshine. We hope that everyone have a fantastic Tuesday, wherever you're doing, whether you're in the office listening to us, you're in the car jetting to work, or if you just have an off day. Shout out to the people who got off days on a Tuesday. Stay tuned for more Coffee Talk. We'll be back tomorrow. Like I say, our new partnership with Spotify. Like I say, they wanted us to do this thing every day, so that's going to be the mission. And we'll catch y'all in the next show tomorrow morning. Coffee Talk presented by Spotify. Good morning, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll catch y'all in the next episode. Peace.
Wake up in the morning. Wake up, Atlanta. It's time for coffee. Talk presented by Spotify. Fresh vibes, real talk.
Let's get started, shall we?
Yeah.